Hi, we're Beth and Brian, and we bought a fixer house in the Sicilian countryside, not that far from Noto. And we hope you'll join us as we meet our neighbors, fix up the house, learn about Sicilian cuisine, and explore our new surroundings. We're gonna have a great time. Andiamo!
What's up? Still love doing that.
Well, we're in France.
We were in France.
You were in New York.
I wasn't in New York. I got to play with my granddaughter Margot and hang out with my daughter Lauren and Leo. And Douglas came up from Florida. Mm-hmm. We went and saw your mom and my mom for Mother's Day. Just didn't get a chance to see Cameron this trip, but we'll catch him the next round.
Meanwhile,
in
Transylvania, it's
how many
barely,
days?
the sun has barely come out in 3 weeks.
How many days did you see the sun?
Unbelievable. And I was kind of dreading coming here anyhow, for a bunch of reasons, I guess. Mm-hmm. A lot of you asked questions about why France, how we get to Sicily, and so on and so forth. Well, when I dropped Beth off at the airport, she told me she made a video for me, and in that video, she actually answers a lot of questions. She made me cry. That wasn't very nice. But we thought we'd play it. It's a little bit personal, but you'll have a better idea of how and why. So here goes.
Okay, so Brian's out doing weed whacking before we head back out of here tomorrow. I have no idea whether or not he's going to use this or not. But I know this week while he's in France, he wants to kind of tackle the whole bit about what happened in France, I guess. I'm not quite sure how to phrase that. So I'm just going to give it my best shot. This was a huge dream of Brian's, to move to France. And for 15, 20 years, he went online looking for property and knew eventually that he just wanted, that was his dream. He wanted to move to France. And at one point we talked about it and I wasn't quite ready. The kids were still in school and I was in the process of going back to get my master's, so I can go into teaching. Timing wasn't right from my perspective. And so he put the dream on hold until the kids were done and I was, had been teaching for a few years. And then we finally got to the point where he could sell the business and it was time. So he found this property and that got us to France. I know this is going to be a really difficult topic for him because it was such a part of who he, I don't know, not who he thinks he is or who he thought he was, but just such a huge part of him. His family is French. I mean, he just had this dream of of wanting to live in France. And so I will say, we started off gung-ho and it was an adventure and it was great. And then partway into it, we realized he realized that this probably wasn't the right place for us. It was very small. It just didn't fit what we needed. And I think the hard thing was the transition for me. It was exactly what I needed. And truth be told, it was where I felt I needed to be. And I just finished teaching for 15 years in middle school kids and total chaos, as you can imagine. Middle school kids, class sizes were getting just too big, and it was the first time that I lived, or both of us had lived, but the first time for me living in a foreign country, and it was stressful. I'm not gonna lie, because I didn't speak the language, so it was super stressful for me. For Brian, his French is pretty good. By the time we left there, he's pretty much fluent. So for him, I don't think it was as difficult, but any time you move to a foreign country as an expat, there's transitions and there's difficulties, but we kind of worked our way through that. And when we realized that, this place wasn't exactly right for us, we still kept thinking that, this is his dream. I kept thinking, this is his dream, we need to make this work. We just need to make the best of it. And I think for Brian, somewhere along the line, his brain switched and he was like, this isn't the place for us, but I need to finish this house for Beth. It's been one of those ongoing things in our 33 years of marriage that a house is only ready or finished when we're ready to sell it. And so for him, he took this project on as like, I need to do this. Way too much. The house is way too much for us. You know, originally we had bought it thinking we were going to do a Jeet or an Airbnb, and that wasn't necessarily the right plan as well. And the community itself. Okay, here's my perspective on the community itself. They were welcoming. I mean, extremely welcoming, in the sense that I knew if something happened, or if I knew if I needed something, I could go to any one of my neighbors in that village and they would be there to help us. We had countless times we would run into issues, we needed something, and they were right there. I mean, there's a solidarity in that village that is beyond anything that we ever really experienced living in the US, and that said a lot to us. And that meant a lot to us. And so, you know, when we originally started to look at places, our mindset was not to leave France. It was not to leave Fenye. It was to find a place to go in the wintertime, find a place to kind of get out of the cold, get out of the gray. We lived in the gray for too many years, and we needed some sunshine. And then when we got to Sicily, we both fell in love and said, okay, this is pretty cool. We love it. And so we kind of approached it that it was going to be a place to go in the winter. And then I went back to the States to be with my daughter during the last couple months of our pregnancy and through the birth of Margot. And Brian came here to Sicily to kind of get the house opened up and sign all the papers and do all of the legwork to get us going here. And he fell in love with this place. And I couldn't relate to it at first. I just couldn't get it. I mean, I knew, yeah, it was great. We loved Sicily. The weather, amazing. Yeah, awesome. It wasn't until I got here in January and sitting outside and going into town and, you know, exploring and meeting people that I realized it's much more than that. It is much more than that. And it's hard to explain, but there is this feeling of so much energy that's here all the time. And it's beautiful, and it's peaceful, and it's serene, and it's alive. It's all of that. But I do know that this video for Brian is going to be a really hard one, because I know for him, France is always going to be a little bit a piece of who he is. It is. It's his family. It's his heritage. And I think it was his first big dream. And I know that that's going to break his heart a little bit. And at the same time, I also know, watching him here on this property, that he is so at ease, and he is so happy, and he is so content, and he's willing to find a balance here. In France, it was all work for him. It was work to finish that house, work to finish the house. Here, there are projects that are coming up that he's excited about, planting a vineyard, redoing the inside of this house, which is tiny, and it's going to be a piece of cake compared to what we were dealing with in our house in France. And plus he learned an awful lot in that process. And the people that we've met have just been incredible. And I will say the people in Fenye were really good to us. And I am grateful for that. I am grateful that it gave me a place where I could feel comfortable living outside of the US. And it gave me a place where I could feel comfortable with trying to figure out what was really important to me and to Brian and to us. And so it was a good spot. And the chapter is closing. I mean, I guess there's part of me that hopes it doesn't close completely. But this is a new adventure, and this is going to be a good one. So Brian, I don't know if you're going to use any of that. I just wanted to kind of give my 2 cents. I love you so much, and I know you poured your heart and soul into that house in France. And I know it's going to be sad. And I also know how happy you are here and how happy that makes me. We have a good life. We have an amazing life. We've had 33 years and lots more to go. But you have put yourself behind all of us. You have put your career, a career that you hated, and you did that for so many years for us. You've worked on this house in France for me. And now it's time that you do something for you. And the cool thing is I think this is a place where we're both going to be able to have exactly all of that. And I just need you to know how much I appreciate and love you and respect you for all the work that you did there. And I know that it's not going to be easy. But I do love you. And thank you. Ciao. See you in a couple weeks.
So when we came to Fenier, we really expected to be here for a long time. And we bought this completely rundown old hotel. And when we bought it, Beth, first time in the house, I'd seen it before, but Beth, her first time in the house, she made some videos.
I did.
As we ran through.
First time in the house, opened up the door to the house, and first door you come into is the kitchen, or you walk into the kitchen and it was like, oh my God.
Sheets on the bed like it just been slept in.
We thought that someone was still there.
Yeah, it was really gross.
It was not good at all.
But we made some videos. So we did, we found those videos and we did some before and afters of the living room, the kitchen, our bedroom, and the alleyway. And the special project, the alleyway. So here goes.
Okay, so this is the kitchen. Walk in for one of the front doors. The door in front of us goes upstairs. This door here goes to the wine cave.
I see that.
Wait. So here is the wine cave. It is ginormous. Lots of room for lots of wine. Okay, then we have dishwasher, sink, oven, stove. This is a dry sink that will probably be removed. We will leave the fireplace. This is the bar. That we want to move. Leaving the kitchen, you come into the living room, which was the grand ballroom. We have two big windows, another front door, and then a huge fireplace. It is just one big room. So this would be considered the master bedroom. However, we might change it. Another fireplace. Window 1. The view. Radiator. Window 2. With a view of the barn. And then window 3. With a view of the barn and our little no. This room could be a suite with a bathroom put in. Ceilings with the beams.
Okay. So I will say that it's bittersweet in a way, leaving this place.
Yeah, selling the house.
It's bittersweet because the house is itself so beautiful
Yeah.
and almost dreamlike, fairy tale-ish, living in an old stone house in
Truly.
the middle of the country in France.
Beautiful.
Amazing.
But we were bored.
We were bored. I mean, it was just like the first couple of years there was a lot to see and do, and we did all that.
But we didn't make any friends.
We did not.
For the first time in my life, I didn't make friends. It's like, oh, this is weird. But it's very clannish here.
It is. I
And
mean,
it's very small.
it is super small. There's only, I mean, originally when we looked at the census and everything, it showed 80 people,
I think 90.
90 people, and it's, the reality is that there's only 40.
30 something. I think I counted them in my head the other day, like 32
Yeah.
or something,
So
34.
There's just not a lot. And there's just not a lot. And it's an aging population too, is the other part of it.
And some of the coolest people have already died.
Yeah,
So
that was hard.
that was
Jaco.
hard. Yeah, Jaco, he was
Miss
great.
him. Jean-Pierre. Miss him.
Jean-Pierre.
Yep.
Yeah.
At any rate, so I mean, like that part's, I don't know. It's so complicated.
Yeah.
It is super complicated because
The people here were great.
they were
They gave as much as they could.
100%.
The solidarity here.
I know if something happened and like when you hurt your back,
Yeah.
people were showing up at the door. Can I bring you to the hospital? Can I bring
Yeah.
you to the doctors? Like, you know, I've got this witch doctor that I can bring you to. We've got great stories on that.
Good story, yeah.
But I mean, people were here to help
Yeah.
all the time. And
It's not that they didn't like us.
no, and yet it was also very closed. It's people didn't socialize in the way that we wanted to socialize, and I think that was the biggest thing.
We didn't realize it until we didn't have it.
Exactly. And then when you go to Sicily and you realize, oh my goodness,
This is like
This
the
is-
best of our American social life
and
amped up.
yes, and the sun and the
Yeah.
country and all of that.
So we had to accept the fact that it didn't work out.
We did not,
The French dream didn't work out.
which is okay.
It's okay. You
We
know,
learned a lot. I mean,
did.
we totally.
And I think we got a little unlucky.
We did. We talked to the inspector. The inspector came by the house today, and we had a long conversation with him. And he even said that to us. It's like, I think you guys got really unlucky,
Yeah.
you know, which is too bad. But and yet at the same time, I feel like it gave us what it needed to give us, and
we learned what we needed.
100%. I mean, and there are people that I will miss.
yeah.
You know, I will miss, you know, coming home and having a bag of mushrooms on my door from our.
Germaine, our 80-something-year-old neighbor,
Yep.
her exercise is going out mushroom hunting, and she's really good at it. And she's all over the place in her little car.
She knows every inch of this area.
Yeah.
And every time where we think, like, okay, this is a great time to get mushrooms,
Yeah.
we go out, we get nothing.
no.
She comes back with a bag full
Yeah.
every single time.
And she shares them with us.
And,
usually,
yeah.
So,
And she's sweet. I mean, and, you know, there are little things like that.
Madame Regardy was great to us when we got here.
Madame Regardy was good. Yvonne and Beatrice,
Yeah.
the restaurant owners were really good to us as well, you know, when we came back after COVID. And
Yeah.
I do think COVID had a huge impact
It
on
did.
this town.
It changed this place.
It didn't necessarily take any people, I don't think.
No, but it really
But it-
affected the mentality here, sadly. And we've talked to people living here about it, and they agree that something happened after COVID. It's hard to put your finger on it, but people became more distant.
Yeah.
And
And it's hard when you only have 40 people. It's like,
yeah,
you know, there's not a whole wiggle room in there.
Nope.
At all. So I will miss this. I
too.
will miss this house.
Yep.
I will miss our game of Azul in the garden.
we can figure that out.
But I miss our butterflies and our lilacs and our roses. Like there's things that I will definitely miss. And
Yeah, but we're
yet
moving. Like, you know, people move, right?
Yeah. And I'm super excited about what the next adventure is. And I think that is like one of the big things we kind of talked about one day is that as an expat, it's like sometimes like you put all of your eggs in this basket and say,
And you think this is it.
this is it.
Yeah.
I'm moving to France.
Moving to
This is
France.
it.
This is my dream. This is going to be
Everything. And you know what? Sometimes it's not it.
Nope.
And I think it's okay to like reach that point and realize, okay, it's not it.
So we had to choose between going back to America
Yep.
or trying
Trying
again
Sicily.
somewhere else, and we decided to try again somewhere else because the
And
life here is.
We do.
Europe
I
is pretty
think
good.
we do both really like the European lifestyle.
Yeah.
And what that brings.
Yeah, so we're going to keep going for a while and see what happens.
And you know what? That may not be written in stone either. You have no idea. And I think that that's the biggest thing. It's like you could always rewrite your chapters.
Yep.
And so we're rewriting the next chapter.
And we can't wait to get back to Sicily. So this hasn't been nearly as painful as I thought.
No, it's just been a lot of work. And so keep in mind, I'm going to throw you under the bus just a little bit. So
Don't give me the 90%. You're going to do the 90% thing.
So Brian has this thing, 90% of the house is always done. Always, always. But can I tell you that 10% in a house this size is literally the size of an entire house. So we've had 10% of the projects left to do. It's been a lot.
I don't like the little punch list things at the end of a project at all.
No.
But I've been doing them this time, and
So can I tell you how excited I am to be living in a 3-room house in Sicily?
you poor thing.
I can't wait.
Oh, poor Beth in her unfinished house in France.
Oh, shut up. That's not even it. That's not even it. It's just,
I know.
you know,
Yeah.
I know. It's all good. No, but it's chapter's closing, moving on, and we'll catch you in Sicily. We'll be back in another week or so, and next video will be from there.
Yeah. A happier one.
Yeah, so sorry it's taken us so long. We have just been out straight.
Literally. Yeah.
Yep. Anyway,
Okay.
that's it. Peace
So
out.
thanks for
Ciao.
watching. Ciao.